Gaming to me feels like a language, the way coding, art, sport, or other means of expression can be. We all have a native language, something that's been with us since the beginning. And what helps us to develop this is immersion, just how much time we spend not just actively participating in, but simply being surrounded by this thing. Now, if gaming is one of our native languages, our ability to take in and output becomes so much easier. We start early in developing feedback loops and telling ourselves what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong in terms of the games we play, reinforcing good behavior and cutting away the bad. There are well-known names like Cooler, Justin Wong, Booga, and these players usually have stats of their skill hitting international highs at about 15, 16 years old. I'm not making any kind of scientific paper here since I'm no good with data or in-depth study, but what we can clearly see is that players as young as 15 or so can compete with or even beat out players with literal decades of experience. So if you're 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever something and haven't been pumping 6 hours of grind into your favorite respective game every single day, are you out of luck? Instead of falling behind, have you already fallen? Is this it? Did you already miss your shot at being the absolute best? Are you past what your limit could have been? Of course, as you pass through your 20s, you will be lacking some of the reflexes or ability to soak stuff in like you would have a number of years ago. And I think that if you're the type to go, well, if I can't be the absolute best at something, the number one, then I'm out. And if you are starting in your 20 or 30 somethings, then yeah, your absolute peak is back in time somewhere. You can still maybe be the best at competitive bingo, and maybe that'll be my next video, but this video isn't about what could you have achieved if your full-time job was gaming out of the womb. Nope. This video is called What's Your Limit? We're talking about the you now and in your future. And maybe that's why you're here. Because being the absolute best isn't what you're striving for. You just want to get better, and maybe not waste your time if you're already at your limit. Sick. So let's talk about your current limit instead. That's the fun one. Now, before we actually specifically talk about your limits, let's go over the absolute limits of a player in any one game. The skill floor and the skill ceiling. Now we're going to use the illustration of a building. A building with a low skill floor is one that we can enter and enjoy pretty much right away. A low skill floor means that with minimal effort or investment, we get what we need to out of a game. Fun. We're not the best at the game on the game's ground level, but we're having fun, we're having a laugh. Great. Games with low skill floors are the ones that are always a hit at parties because they're built with fun and pick up and play in mind, and they're usually very, very forgiving. Jackbox party games, Overcooked, Bomberman, most sports games, Mario Party, Lego games. These games are really successful and have so many sequels or inspire so many other titles because they're easy and fun for anyone new to games or taking them casually. Okay, so what about higher skill floors then? These are games where if we go back to the illustration of the building, there's some work you need to do before you enter the building and have yourself a laugh. League of Legends, Apex Legends, Legend of Zelda, Raid Shadow Legends. All of these games aren't super friendly to users who are just hopping into games for a night with a friend. For the most part, they require a bit of time and attention to really start going. For instance, let's look at a game kind of in the middle. Minecraft Survival. Minecraft is one of the most popular games to ever hit the market, and it's an excellent example of a game that just kind of drops players into a new, slightly challenging world. New players will struggle, but if they put in a bit of time or do a touch of reading about the game, they'll be able to get most of what they need to out of it on their own. A little bit of investment is required to make Minecraft what it's supposed to be. Fun. How high can a skill floor get, though? Games with high skill floors require a player to make large initial investments to get that ooey gooey juicy fun. But what kind of person would want to work to have fun playing a video game? Hardcore gamers. Not to be mistaken with...
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
Okay, anyways, high skill floors imply a climb, a rough climb, just to enter at the ground floor of a game. The time you take on this climb, or learning curve, might be a little bit enjoyable, but you aren't getting most of the experience yet. Now, you might have heard of Getting Over It, The Impossible Quiz, Superman 64, or Cat Mario, and they're tough. They throw challenge at players as if to spite them. These games, though, can be seen as developers going, oh yeah, just make it stupid hard and let them get used to it. And they don't fall into this category. Those are mean games. Instead, the highest skill floors are reserved for titles like F-Zero GX, where the first mission on the easiest mode was as far as I got as a kid because I thought I was just bad at video games. Or Monster Hunter, where you think it's a game about hunting monsters, but it's also a game where you can spend a half hour preparing to look at a monster from far away, and spend a couple hours thinking about the monster, and then learning how to serenade a monster while beating it with a giant guitar. And this is after the same monster has knocked you out 100 times. Games with crazy high skill floors usually are a pain to start, but the reason why some of them are so loved is because the investment that comes with them means you can soar to some exceptionally high and worthwhile skill ceilings. So yeah, skill floors talk about how much time or effort or skill are needed to invest before you harvest that fun extract from the game, but on the opposite end of the floor is the ceiling where, well, we see just how good someone can feasibly get at a game. I first mentioned party games because for the most part, these games have both low skill floors and skill ceilings. Sometimes there's minigames or aspects of them where a player can get really good at, but for the most part, if a game has a low skill ceiling, a player with hundreds of hours or experience will barely be discernible from a player who has none, simply because there's not really far to go up in skill. Games with skill ceilings that are a little bit higher than the skill floor, though, are usually great for games that we start, finish, and put down when the story is ended, or we've used up most of the content the game has to offer. Your one-off adventures like Uncharted, Undertale, or Tomb Raider. I can go on and on about the different matches of skill floors and skill ceilings. For the sake of the video though, and our initial topic, I just want to hit on one more. Games with varying skill floors, but extremely high skill ceilings. Games that might be super easy to get into like Melee, or maybe a bit tougher to get into like Rocket League, or take a lot of love and patience to get into like Guilty Gear, but then, when you do, the ceiling, that potential, that limit, it's insane. Why I spent so long talking about these things was to help gauge just what point a player will stop being able to get better at something. If you are playing a game with a high skill ceiling, that the professional players are still pushing higher and higher, then you know that the only factor holding you back is you. Now yes, I know, you're the best, and your team is holding you back. And you deserve that high rank. But you are still a big factor in winning your game, and again, the only factor in developing your skill. Oh no, me! I am the only variable in whether I hit my limit? Yeah, exactly. Have I hit my limit? Most likely not. How do I get there? I am so glad you asked. Now, getting better is not a bippity-boppity-boo alakazam kind of deal. I don't have the magical words that will simply make you flip a switch and get to a crazy high rank in your game. Nobody has that. What you need is upward progress. Goals. You need to make goals. A number of goals, realistic goals, important goals. There are 3 types of goals: outcome, performance, and process. Breaking these down is easy. Outcome, the final result, the rank or funny emblem you're striving for. Performance, the physical or mental abilities and standards you'll need to utilize to work towards your outcome. Process, the active time developing your performance abilities and standards. Now anyone can go, yeah, okay, cool, I want to get better, so today I'm just going to set my goal to be the top ranked in Beetle Blaster 4 Arcade Edition X by the end of the week. This is not going to work for a number of reasons, but most obviously it's not being realistic. We need to start smaller. Let's say we're in this rank. Let's set our outcome goal, maybe to move up to this rank. Cool, now that we have an outcome goal, we need a performance goal next. If we can watch gameplay at this rank and it's easy for us to discern what our own gameplay is missing, that's great. We write these skills down, these details down, and we move on. If it's not easy to discern them, we either need someone with a more critical eye to tell us what we need to do, or we need to use a guide provided by the community to tell us either what we're probably missing, or how we ourselves can figure it out. Odds are, if you're trying to get better at a competitive game, there are a tremendous amount of guides offering exactly what you need. Awesome, now that we know what our performance goals are, we just need to achieve those. And typically, getting your performance goals requires one thing: playing the dang game. But from here, it's clear that attaining our goal isn't about magically getting wins or watching a pro play for hours and learning their skill through osmosis, or playing and playing and playing and playing and playing, hoping you'll simply get better. That doesn't work, or at least very well. You need guided play. You need clear goals working to specific skills and development, and then, when you have those, grinding them to the point of being second nature so that they offer value. You'll start doing better and better, and then move to the point where these skills are what is winning you the games. Don't look at your progress like a ravine, a big pit that you just keep jumping at and hope you make it to the other side. Look at progress like a ladder where instead every rung is you developing a new idea or a new technique, and these small changes will compound and take you higher and higher and higher, eventually to where you get to that rank that you set as your initial long-term goal. The only time we as a participant can reliably go, I'm not able to climb, should be when we are absolutely sure we can't start developing that next little skill. So develop your acumen and understanding of the rules of the game. Improve your intuition and your perception of who you're up against, and grind those mechanics, the tools to do all those important, crazy moves. Do the little things that stack up. Work an hour to learn how to L cancel. Practice waiting on that Genji reflect. Learn how to control minions in Dota. Study that micro play in Brutal. Understand how to spot that tell. Try out that spike in melee. Catch the enemy at the perfect time to steal their jungle neutral. That nasty dribble just once. Master that pattern. Pull off that insane shot only because of how well you know the map. And then maybe the next time you're one cool strategy, one big brain move, one sneaky trick away from winning the next game, you will. Start with a new basic, something advanced. Start easy, start hard, but you have to start. You're not at your limit yet, push it. You got this. Thank you so much for watching, thanks for sharing, and if you comment on how the videos impact you or your gameplay, thanks a bunch as well. Additionally, patrons who support the videos and server, heck yeah. All my previous patrons, thank you so much, and have a stinking great day.